And we're live. Hello there. It's Wealth Building Wednesday with Kate and Sheila, and we are going to be talking about paying financial advisors. Really great topic. Very important, right? Like really impactful, right?
Absolutely. They're being paid. They should be paid,
Right?
but it's important you understand how you're paying them.
Exactly. So Kate's going to share all of that information, but first she's going to give you a little bit of her disclosure.
Yes. Well, if you've been watching these, you know that I ran compliance for a registered investment advisory firm, which we'll talk about what that is and all of that in a second. But so this discussion, all correspondence and information from me or Her Money Empowered is just information, thoughts, and ideas shared. Before you make any financial, tax, or legal decisions, please consult your advisor for that specific situation. All right. So I get this question all the time, absolutely all the time, about how financial advisors are compensated. So I have two things to say before I really dig in. One, if they are doing a job for you or consulting you or anything of the like, they deserve to be compensated. I am not saying they should not be. Everybody provides, a service or a product, and they're compensated for it. Totally feel that, they should be compensated for what they do. On that note, I feel like you should understand how they're being compensated and how different titles or licensing provides different avenues for their compensation. Okay. And also understand that anyone out there can hang a flag and say that they are a financial advisor. There is no regulation at all, zero zip zilch around who can say they are a financial advisor. So
I did not know that.
you
So
could
there's
say you're a financial advisor. Anybody can say they are a financial advisor and provide information. So this is why I feel it's super important for you to ask questions, understand where the advice is coming from. That's why I share all the time about my experience in the financial industry and the licensing I carried and all the different roles I played, because that contributes to where my thoughts and ideas and all of that is coming from, right?
right.
So super important to understand that. It's like, you don't want to have a realtor that just calls himself a realtor and hasn't done any work for it, right? And on another note, passing some of the tests is just passing the test, right? It's not the
Right.
actual
Right. Your
functioning in that
experience.
role or that world, right?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's like your experience in any job is, is you learn textbook stuff in college. You learn experience through doing. So your experience,
Absolutely.
I feel, is more valuable than just going and getting a license, right?
Yes.
That experience is going to really be more impactful to the client than anything that textbook is going to show you.
Yeah. Somebody once said to me, and I don't remember who it was, and it stuck because it makes sense. You go to school for, whether it's college or courses to pass the exams or whatever, you gain knowledge there. You gain wisdom from doing it, right? From the 30 years in the industry and that sort of thing. So it's
Yep.
knowledge and wisdom together that provides you with great information, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So there's been lots of trends, I guess, trendy things to call yourself over the years in the industry. And so fee only is one, right? People will say, oh, well, I just want a fee only advisor, which, what does that mean? That means basically that they're going to just charge you for their advice, their investment advice. They're going to take a look at, and it may be it's typically a flat fee that says, okay, I'm going to charge you XYZ amount to go through your financial situation, and they can put whatever parameters they want to on it. It may or it may not include all sorts of different things like insurance or estate planning and things like that. They may just strictly be looking at just your retirement or just this. So understand all of that. And fee-only advisors are typically hourly or, like I said, a flat fee, a planning fee, something along that line. There are commission-based advisors, and they are, just as it says, compensated via a commission that is paid to them from whatever investment you make. So it could be investing in mutual funds, right? So when you invest in mutual funds, the fund company itself will charge you to get into it. Typically, there are different situations where that doesn't happen, but typically that's the case. And sorry, I've got the dog in the background scratching. So it's life, right?
This is life, though. This is life. So let's keep moving forward. Keep persevering, as you tell people.
So with the commission based, when the mutual fund company charges you to get into the fund, a portion of that fee goes back to the advisor that suggested that fund, which we'll circle back to in a second. Now, a fee-based advisor which is different than a fee only. A fee-based advisor is one who's going to charge you based on your assets. So this is where people say, oh, they're charging you a fee for the advice and the fee for the investment kind of thing. And it's really a combination where you are paying in both situations there. You're paying for the advice and you're paying for the investment. Okay. Asset-based advisors are paid based on the assets that they hold under management, or the AUM, it's called, the assets under management that you have with them. Okay. So this is where people say, oh, they're fiduciary based. And when you do better, I do better, which is all true, right? But it's a fee, a percentage of your assets that they charge you every year. Okay. And it's typically billed monthly or quarterly. And it's, so if they say 1%, and it usually runs from 0.5% up to 2% of your assets under management. And if they say, well, we'll charge you monthly, then it's 1/12 of that, we'll say 1% or what have you each month. Okay. And it's just automatically deducted and automatically paid to them. So that's where you get the people who are fiduciary based, right? Or a registered investment advisory firm, which is where I left from. I ran compliance and was director of operations and compliance for an RIA when I retired. Some advisors charge a retainer. Okay. And basically that is X amount for the year, much like an attorney would do, right? So you have them on retainer. You can cut in there, within that, there's an agreement, and there's all sorts of, you get XYZ number of calls or this amount of time each year to manage your investments, blah, 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 right? So that's kind of the gist of it. But what I want to do is talk a little bit about how they're licensed and where the conflict of interest can possibly come in. Just like with any business, right? Any profession, there are great advisors and there's not so great advisors. And it really, and all have sort of their niche, and it depends on how you're comfortable with working with them. Okay. So if there's someone who has a Series 65, and that all the testing is run through FINRA, which is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, and it's actually not a government entity at all. It is an independent nonprofit that kind of manages the testing for the financial world, I guess is the best way to put it. So if you have a Series 65, that is all that is required to be a registered investment advisor or a part of that kind of firm and be a fiduciary based advisor. So that's a test that's through FINRA. If you have an RIA, firm, then you have to register with the SEC, which is the government, the Securities Exchange Commission. And so that's where you're regulated. If you're a small advisory firm, you are really regulated through the state and not necessarily through the SEC. And there's all sorts of reporting and things that you have to do every year to the state. Okay. So the RIA, or the Registered Investment Advisor, is the one who's going to charge you on your assets under management, the 0.5% to 2% generally on your assets. Okay. And it is the situation where if you do better, they do better. So it sort of weeds out some of the conflict of interest that can come up with other types of advisors. If someone is commission based, then they are motivated by the mutual fund companies or what have you, potentially motivated, I should say, to sell the products that they get paid more on, right? So what will happen, not as much these days, but really used to a lot, is a mutual fund company would come into the office, talk about their new great this, that, and the other thing. And, oh, we're running a challenge, right? And the office that has sells the most XYZ fund in this time frame gets XYZ gift, right? Whether it's dinner out, when I was at American Express Financial Advisors, and this doesn't happen anymore, but I won a trip to Toronto with, take the train, beautiful train, not the yucky train, you got a bougie hotel, bougie tickets to a show, dinner, the whole thing, right? I think that was 1998. But at any rate, there's incentive for the advisor, or sometimes the firms will do it, right? The firms will run the challenge themselves. And it doesn't matter if it's American Express or any of them. I don't want to name them
because the ultimate goal is to sell the product.
Correct.
Not really for the client.
Right.
The overall part of that is the incentive to sell the product, not the client.
Right.
Best interest, I should say.
And so what it is it's called a suitability standard. Okay. And with the suitability standard, so first of all, we know that there's a whole bunch of mutual funds out there that have the same basic investment strategy, right? We'll just say income and growth, right? We'll just say we're looking at that pile. There's hundreds that fall into that category in that, the asset class that you may be looking to fill for your client. So the suitability standard says, as long as it fits what's appropriate for the client as far as the investment strategy goes, then you can choose whichever mutual fund company or what have you that you want to invest with, right? So now, on a couple things. One, firms get paid more. There's more discounts. There's all those sort of things with the more assets that your firm has invested with that fund. So you have and these are the things that nobody realizes, right? So when you're focused on one fund family and it meets the suitability standard for your client, which is what someone who has a Series 6 or a Series 7 license, and we'll get into those in a second, but they just have to meet the suitability standard. Okay. When you're a fiduciary, you have a fiduciary responsibility to do absolutely the best for your client, which then means you have to find, because you're legally held responsible to, the best mutual fund that meets the assets requirement, like the investing, but also the fees. Right? So you have to find what is best overall for your client. Okay. So that's where people it's just not talked about, I guess, so much out there. Right. And you're supposed to be informed. Your advisor is supposed to share with you how they are compensated on any products, right, that they sell to you. Where the trick also comes in is if someone is Series 6 or Series 7 licensed, or even 65 as a fiduciary, right? They suggest to you an insurance product, life insurance, annuities, things like that, right? That then when they suggest that to you, even if they're an RIA or a fiduciary based firm, they are not acting in that capacity when they sell you insurance because they are receiving a commission for that. So they are supposed to say to you, I'm a fiduciary. However, in this capacity, I will receive a commission for selling this product to you. They still do have to do what's best for you, 100%, but they have to disclose to you that they are going to receive a commission. And oftentimes they don't because they feel uncomfortable and squirrely about it, which on one hand you can understand, right? But on the other hand, they do deserve to be paid for the services they are providing to you.
Exactly. We have similar things in real estate where we have affiliates that title companies or mortgage people or whatever, and there may be some compensation there. But I don't feel comfortable. Like I have picked my own title company, picked my own mortgage person, not because I don't want to work with theirs, but because like I don't want anybody to think that I'm incentivized by anything else.
Right.
My goal is to make sure that that client is taken care of, and they're the important piece of my whole transaction is them, their customer service, that end goal, the happiness, everything. That is my goal, is that they close, that they're happy, and everything's successful. Not that, John the banker or,
Right.
Melissa, the title company over here is going to get some, that I'm going to get paid from them because they were people in this transaction. So.
Yeah. Yep. So also a little bit about a Series 6 license versus a 7. A Series 6 license is a license that allows the person or advisor to sell, bless you, bravo, to sell.
Bravo.
Now he's doing this. So the Series 6 allows them to sell mutual funds and variable contracts like life insurance products with mutual funds in it, things like that. They are not allowed to sell things like options, stock securities, and futures and things of that nature. That would be a Series 7 license, which is allowed to sell or licensed to sell all securities, all any type of investment bonds, all that sort of stuff. So I'm telling you, this dog. Anyway, so then there's a Series 24, which grants you compliance licensing, which is all sorts of fun. Anyway, I don't want to dig it too much into the licenses because really that doesn't matter so much as that people or advisors, anybody can call themselves a financial advisor, and B, that it allows you to understand how people are being compensated. But if they say that fee only,
and I think it's important because people need to ask those questions, right?
They do, and you shouldn't feel bad. And if you ask the question and the advisor you're sitting across from gets all fidgety, then I mean, you and I both know they're hiding something, right?
Yeah.
And please don't read me wrong. I am telling you, there are great advisors out there. There absolutely are. The trick of it is just understand how they're being compensated. They deserve to be compensated, but you deserve to know how they're being compensated, right? And I will tell you, one of the biggest things that pays the most out to an advisor is annuities and insurance products. They really, really do. So if someone said, and there's definitely situations where annuities are fabulous. Don't get me wrong there either. They are totally appropriate in so many situations. However, understand why you're getting it, how it works, how the advisor's being compensated for it, the whole 9 yards. And that's really why when I retired, my mission is education, because there's so much out there. And now, I mean, I started before the great Google, and now there's so much information out there that how do you discern, right? How do you know what you're Googling is actually providing you with correct information, because they aren't always. And I did, just for the fun of it, Google, I don't remember what I put in, something about how a registered investment advisory is licensed or whatever, just to see what it would say. And it came up with something from India. So, I mean, it's one of those things, right?
Well, and we all know that Google doesn't, I mean, the analytics on Google, or the algorithm on Google isn't geared to exactly what it is that you are looking for. And they're not going to give those results. They're very biased. So you have to really ask questions. The biggest thing about education is not listening to people, but asking questions and getting those questions answered. And sometimes you need to get them answered by several people to really make sure that everybody is telling the truth, right? So
absolutely. Yeah. So a little disclosure disclaimer on me. When I retired, I dropped all of my licenses. I do not sell anything, any mutual funds, stocks, anything to anybody. All I do is provide education, from having been there, done it myself, worked through it all with clients for almost 3 decades. And just from my experience and wisdom. So when you hire me, that's what you're hiring me for, is my experience and wisdom and knowledge of the industry and how it all works.
Right. You're not getting compensated by anybody but the person you're working for. So like,
correct.
You know what I mean? You have no vested interest in, any business or any product that you may be telling that client about. You have no vested interest in it. So you're working strictly for them. And the only way to do that, and this is speaking from, I have a license. You're licensed, so you have to abide by certain guidelines. So in order to release yourself from those specific guidelines, you have to drop your license, which is so crazy, right? So, but that makes perfect sense. And I hope everybody gets that piece of this video is that, you know what I mean? Like you aren't tied to anybody, any corporation, any product, nothing. You're tied to the client if they are paying you, which is how it should be, right?
So absolutely. And that's why I did it that way. Because I just felt like, I mean, I retired and then got bored and then and then decided, you know what? Well, one of my girlfriends actually said, you should do all of these things and And I'm like, yeah, I should. So thanks, Michelle. But yeah, so I joke all the time. I'm the truest fiduciary you're going to find, because I'm not selling you any products of any kind. I don't even hold I was licensed for life, accident, and health insurance also. And I don't even hold any of that anymore. It's all gone, because I want to be able to say it like it is. It's who I am as a person. And that's what I feel like people are paying me for, is information, education, that sort of thing.
Well, I
won't tell you one stock from another or one mutual fund from another. My goal is to educate you to choose it for yourself.
Right. Well, I can attest that you are like authentic. Like you're not, there's no fluff behind Kate. Like she's not going to fluff. She sometimes it hurts, and but you need to hear the things that she says. So she's gonna, she'll kid glove you a little bit, but you're not going to grow if you don't feel a little bit of the understanding. And sometimes that might cause you to as I say from the Bible, your flesh gets hurt, right? But ultimately you have to grow from it. So, but you're the truest person I've seen, like in that industry. Like you just tell it how it is. There's very much an authenticity to you. So
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Bravo. You want
Anything
to
else?
see Bravo?
Sure. Let's see Bravo.
Here's why.
The
And this,
video.
come here, buddy. Come on. Come on. Here's why. Because this dude, oh, come here, monster. Okay. There
Look
he
at
is.
that puppy.
This is Bravo. He's very excited. But he
Hi, Bravo.
the Detroit Dog Rescue. So there's my plug for DDR. Oh, yes, you're the goodest boy.
Detroit
Oh,
Rescue.
yeah.
Well, way to go, Detroit Rescue. And thank you, Kate, for rescuing such an amazing dog.
Of course. Well, I figured everybody should see what was making noise.
Usually, like you said earlier, usually you have your little ones. And today,
Yes, usually the little ones are sitting behind me. But today he came in and I thought, okay, he was sleeping in the chair. And that stopped as soon as we got on, of course. But
right. Well, such is life. That's the way it goes. So we're not going to worry about it. But hopefully people have found really good value from this video. We are going in our next video, going to be talking. We're going to be starting up a series on educating because that's our big thing. Both me and Kate love to educate people. So we are going to start a series of educating the elementary, the middle school, the high school kids, because it's so important. What?
Teaching kids about money.
Yeah, it's so important to
navigate that.
Yeah, to explain to them how you need to start out, right? Like we don't want to have our kids after school start out behind. So we want them to very much be ahead. And so learning all the facets. And then we were also talking about doing a video on investment. So I'm excited to research that and bring that to you. So anyways, my information is right here if you need it. And Kate's
we had some technical
issues. Yeah, we had technical issues. So anyways, Kate, you want to just leave a phone number? It'll be in the description, but go ahead and leave your phone number.
Yeah, my phone number is 248-495-0590, and you can find me at hermoneyempowered.com.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.
Take care.